We're up to chapter 5, and I want to explain again, as I said many times. The Nesivas Shalom is going to give us a lot of chizuk. Throughout Nesivas Shalom, there's always chizuk, and in the next, actually in Vav, in chapter 6, he really gives us chizuk. But before he gets there, he's outlining what real, true avodas Hashem is meant to be. So it's a really high level that he's going to tell us, and sometimes you're going to be like, what does this have to do with me? So first of all, someone's got to say it. Someone's got to teach those who are thriving and on top how to make it all the way up. But besides for that, it applies to every single one of us to try to move from whatever level we are, a drop up. He's going to tell us now something that seems like doesn't apply to me, and we certainly can't do it like a black belt, like from 1 to 100. We can't do it at 100, but I have found that I might go from a 5 to a 6. That there are times that we can focus and we can do this thing which is so important. What is it? It's called modesty. It's called having a relationship with Hashem, our avodas Hashem, that when we're already doing something good, to do it properly, in a modest way. The Torah tells us in Micha, "V'hatzne leches em Hashem elikecha." You should walk humbly with your God. Now, he's going to explain what this means. Achas hadargas o ikaris, one of the main central qualities, hashaychim lebehirus ba'avodas Hashem, that is shaykh, that is important for clarity in our avodas Hashem, and this has been all the chapters, behirus, to have clarity when we're doing something good in our avodas Hashem. He is sha'avdos tiyazaka unikiya, that our avodah, that our worshiping Hashem should be pure and clean. Bilti Hashem lavadoi. Only purely for Hashem alone. Beli kol taruvos, without any additional mixtures. Pniyos umataris acheros, without any ulterior motives. This is the main central quality, that when we're doing something, we're davening, or any mitzvah, really the ultimate is that we should focus on doing it just for Hashem. The K'maish HaKadosh Baruch Hu Yachid, just like Hashem is one, B'li shum shitav Rachmana litzlan, without any partners, Rachmana litzlan, God forbid. Kachgam avoidasoi, so too the avodas Hashem, our worshiping Hashem. Tzricha liyos tahira, it needs to be pure, B'li shituf in yonam acherim, without mixing in and partnering in anything else. For any reason. This is the command that it means, it's a remez in the previous pasuk. He's telling you, your mahalach hachayim, the way that you live your life, the derech, the path in your avodas Hashem, tiyeh b'tznius, should be humble, should be modest. Other people shouldn't know of it. So it shouldn't have a blemish in your holiness. You're going ahead, you're like sacrificing an animal in the Kodesh HaKadoshim. But if other people know about it, it could bring a blemish. Because once you see somebody looking, and now, instead of being alone in myself and my thoughts, I'm praying to Hashem, purely me and you. I notice somebody's looking and I do an extra kvetch, I do an extra this, or it affects me. So that part now was done for him. So we put a blemish, we put a outsource, an outside material into our pureness. We all do it. Don't give up. Keep on going. As the Divrei Shmuel said, a very sharp of art. Again, it's just to bring out the highest level. We'll get to us small people soon. V'hatzne, what you do humbly and modestly, lechas l'Hashem alikecha. That's how he touched up. V'hatzne lechas l'Hashem alikecha. V'hatzne lechas l'Hashem alikecha. That's going to go straight to Hashem up above. Such an avodah goes to God. It is accepted b'ratzon in front of Hashem. But things that you don't do privately and quietly, other people know about it. Who knows who it's going to? What does it mean? Pam Omar, he one time said something very sharp. She'achri arichas yom shaladam, at the end, after 120 years. Kasher ba lifnei bezin shamala, when you come up to the bezin shamala, umavakesh olam haba avur ma'isov ha'tovim, and you say, I'd like to get paid. I'd like olam haba for the good deeds that I did. They're going to go ahead and they can tell you, oimrim loy, leich tevakesh olam haba shalcha mizeh sheba'avurei osisa masecha. Go get your olam haba, go get paid from the one who you did it for. You only did 35% for Hashem. There was 65% you did for your new Adam, for your new son-in-law, for your new father-in-law, for your new neighbor, or for your rabbi, or for whatever. There were other reasons that were involved in your Torah, in your mitzvah, in your chesed. A person can give tzedakah, and he's doing it, he's mixing in his own kavod, or other things that are not purely for tzedakah. It's dangerous. It's not pure. Very interesting. And according to these holy words, in light of these holy words, a person can serve Hashem his whole life. If he doesn't have the mindset, remember we started off in Perek Aleph, what is Daas? Remember, Chachma and Bina. Mind and heart together. Unification of your emotions and your intellect. If you don't have that das, sheyia bilti l'Hashem levadoi, if intellectually your focus is not Hashem, or emotionally your heart is not fully focused on God, ha'ikar chaser, the main thing is missing. Uvama yavoi el hamelech, and with what will he come to the king? He's going to come to the king with, look what I did, and Hashem's going to say, you didn't really do it for me. Now, think about it. When we do actions for other people, the main thing is just you get the job done. Someone asks you to shovel their snow. You shoveled it or you didn't shovel it, or you tried to shovel it, or you shoveled half. When it comes to Avodas Hashem, Hashem wants us to serve Him. That's why we do what we do. And so it's so obvious that if we're doing anything that we want reward for, but we're not doing it fully for Him, then we're allowing other reasons to taint our avodah. It's tainted avodah, and it's not done purely for Him. Now, our job is to go a drop further. It could be in a davening that a lot of the davening we won't be able to keep this focus, but some davening, maybe just the first bracha or just Talat HaKadosh, maybe just one part, maybe Asher Yotzar, maybe a bracha, a bari nefashos. Maybe when we write a check for tzedakah, maybe when we're doing a mitzvah of chesed, bilti l'Hashem levadoi, even if we can't do it all the time. But if no one told us this, we can go our whole lives doing good things. And it's like you work for the company and you should get $1 million and they give you $200,000. You did the work. Why shouldn't you get paid? But over here, the work is internally serving Hashem. It's not serving anything else. So chas v'shalom that we shouldn't get paid for the work that we did because our mind or our feelings, our hergish, our emotions weren't in the right place. Kayotze b'davar, similarly, is the behirus, the clarity, the hakara, and recognizing ha'amukah, the deep clarity and deep recognizing. And he always says these words, behirus hadas, hakara, because this is not a shir that you can listen and you're good. This is something we have to work on every day. That's the hakdama that we're doing from Chelik Aleph. It's 6 prakim. When I finished it after the first time, I was ready to start the sefer with my chavusa, the actual Chelik Aleph. Moving on, I said, no. I want to do this again and again and again and again. And I gave many shiurim just on the hakdama because this is life. This is learning how to do something that to perfect, it could take our whole lives. And if we lose focus on it, because, okay, yeah, I get it. A week later, it's gone. We have to constantly put it, some people put notes in their siddur. Focus on Hashem. They make notes, they put in their phone, in their reminders. Remember to do something, bilti l'Hashem levada. If we can't do everything, we could train ourselves, and we can grow and grow and grow. Tzaddikim, everything. They were eating a delicious cholent. Bilti Lashem Lavada, only for Hashem. For us, it's very hard. It tastes good. I want it. I'm hungry. My body wants it. I'm with friends. It's very hard. Yes, but we can do a little bit. In the middle of a Shabbos meal, we could say, even though it tastes good, right? We could say, Bilti Lashem Lavada. People say, L'kavod Shabbos Kodesh, but we have to mean it. Hashem knows what's inside of us, and we have to really, really, really mean it. We have to mean it. It might just be 1 second that we mean it, but we have to mean it. I actually wrote in CPR, Resuscitation for Your Soul, Kedai to buy, that's a plug. And we wrote about, really, it's a lot of Nesivas Shalom. It's mostly Nesivas Shalom's, very, very deep, but it's written on a very easy level, but it's very deep for all ages, and even young teenagers. A lot of examples are from there. But I wrote that, it's much easier to fast Yom Kippur for Hashem than to eat a delicious cholent for Hashem. When you're enjoying the mitzvah, it's much harder, much, much harder to do purely l'shem shamayim. Yom Kippur, you're not eating. It's easier to do. I'm not eating purely for God. But eating for Hashem, like the day before Yom Kippur, it's a mitzvah to eat. You go into the sukkah and it's beautiful weather, it's harder to do it l'shem shamayim than when it's cold. It's interesting, right? So everything that we do, whether it's easy or whether it's hard, we have to always constantly focus and say it up front and think to ourselves and try to keep this focus, because Hashem has a meter and he sees service meter 100, service meter 38, 12, 72. He sees the service meter. So too we have to have clarity and depth of understanding, of recognition. She'ein avodas Hashem nimdedes lefi hakamos. Very, very important. Avodas Hashem is not judged, is not measured according to kamos, according to the amount. There's kamos and there's echos. Kamos is the amount. A person can do something for an hour. Echos is the depth, the sincerity. Ella, what is it judged by? Lefiha emes la'amita. The real, true, deep emes, truth. Va'apnimius shebepnimius, and in the internal depth of the depth. Sheyeshba, which it is, shehi kineshama shel avodas Hashem. That's like the soul of the avodas Hashem. The avodas Hashem has on the outside the act. The act has to be good. The act has to be beautiful. You have to shake the lulav. We have to have a beautiful lulav, a beautiful esrig, and we should try to do mahudar. We put on tzitzis. Everything we're doing, there's the exterior, but it goes all the way down deep into mamash, our psyche, and a lot of people are not even in touch with what's going on inside of their brain. How many times we go like this in the middle of Shabbos davening and then, looking around because we're not thinking about what we're saying. It's normal, it's human, but it means that we're not even focused. And sometimes we focus, but the depth of our focus, how much is it? How much mamish focus, like we're walking a tightrope? Like we're mamish entirely focused. Most of us are not entirely focused ever on anything. So we have to become sensitive to understanding that avodas Hashem is judging us on the pnimius of the pnimius, the depth of the inside. It doesn't mean that you do 5 seconds of pnimius and the outside and the echos, the amount doesn't matter. We have to do every mitzvah. We have to do all the learning. But the real schar and the judgment is in that 4 hours of learning, or that 1 hour learning, or that 10 minutes of learning. How much of it was real? That I'm learning, or I'm doing a mitzvah or chesed for Hashem, bilti l'Hashem lavadai, only for Hashem Himself. On the deepest depth of my being, my core. V'lo yirak. And that's the neshama. He's saying that's the neshama of them. That's the soul of the mitzvah. V'lo yirak. And not only she'im eine emes, that if it's not really true, hainu sheyesh batur v'sheker, that there's, what does it mean it's not true? It means that there's mixed in some sheker, some falsehood, that pigel hu v'lo sirtza, that it's like a carbon becomes treif if it's pigel, right? If there's thoughts of, if the Kohen Gadol doesn't think only about the carbon, it's pigel, and you can't, it's not a good carbon, right? So it's not just that if it's like missing something. Even if you don't have any negative part of falsehood, adayin rechoikehi Mimadregas emes she madrega chiyuvis. He's saying a very interesting thing. It's very tough, and we're not going to do it today. He's saying even if you're not davening to impress somebody else, you could still be very far away from davening in the depths of your core of your soul, right? For the midah of the level of pure truth, which is the madrega chiyuvis, the required level that we're supposed to strive for to get to. Again, not everyone's a black belt right away. It's going to take time to work there. Shetia emes la'amitoy. Our avodas Hashem, our mitzvahs hamasim tovim, our chesed should be emes la'amitoy. That's where we get judged. Really the truth of bilti l'Hashem levadai, purely only for Hashem. And sometimes you have to stop in the middle of what you're doing and you have to say, hang on, wait. To yourself. Don't say it out loud. They're going to throw you out. But hold on. Why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? Yes, maybe I'm getting covered. Maybe I'm impressing. Yes, it's all there. The food tastes good. I enjoy helping people. Why am I doing this? Bilti l'Hashem levadai, and to mamish into your core as much as humanly possible. Nikia, clean, gami shemetz taruvas dimyan. It shouldn't even have a shemetz, a damage, a little bit of dimyanis, of fantasy. It should come from an internal, deep place, which is pure and holy and clean. Hashem, His stamp, His signature is MS's truth. And the avodah that we have to try is to mamish be in a matziv, in a mindset, in a situation, in a focus of truth. If a person, God forbid, is walking on the street and someone sticks a gun in his mouth, and he's going to pray to Hashem, Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad, it's going to be pure and holy, and bilti l'Hashem levadai, and emes la'amitoi, it's going to be on the highest level. We can't feel like that all the time. We have to work on ourselves. Hashem created us not to be able to be on that madrega all the time. That's tzaddikim. Tzaddikim are black belts all the time. Fear of Hashem every second, like Yom Kippur by Nila, like there's a gun at their head, like they could die any second. They were able to do that. Us simple folk, no. But it doesn't change the fact that that's what's pure. That's what Hashem loves and wants and is hoping for and embraces and yearns to hear from us. And therefore, we have to strive for it as much as we can. There's an unbelievable story of the Divrei Yoel, Schus Yagan Aleinu, the Satmar Rebbe. It's a known story that there was a Purim, and by the Purim spiel, when they have like a Purim play, the Rebbe was there, and a guy got up and he dressed up like the Rebbe, and he started imitating the way that the Rebbe davens. Whatever, I don't know, what he moves with his hands or what he does, what he did, I don't know. I'm sure you could see find a video of it. But I'm sure there are people alive who could tell you. But whatever he did by his davening, which was unbelievable, avodas Hashem, he imitated him. And in the middle, he noticed the Rebbe was crying, tears down his eyes, tears down his face. So he ran over, he said, Rebbe, I'm sorry. He thought he insulted the Rebbe. Rebbe, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, I insulted you. I didn't mean to insult you. It was Purim Spiel. I'm sorry. And the Divrei Yoel said, no, I'm not insulted. I'm just worried that maybe when I daven, I'm also just imitating the way I once did it. He felt like every time he comes and he goes like this, right? So maybe now when I go like this, I'm not doing it because of the internal reaching out for Hashem and tshuka and shtoikikus and all the things that makes me want to daven, and I'm bursting out of my skin that one time. Maybe now I'm just doing it because that's what you do. Maybe I'm just doing it because I'm imitating myself, and he was so worried that he was crying tears. Maybe I'm also not really each time doing it because that's my pure avodas Hashem. Maybe I'm also just fooling myself. It's very hard because we do things constantly on a daily basis over and over again. We put on tefillin every time. It's very hard. But that's the madrega that we try to go for. So first of all, don't feel bad. Become incentivized. Let's try. The fact is, this is what Hashem wants. And we could all do it a little bit sometimes and strive to rise up. Some people put notes, like I said in the siddur. You could put it on every page. Remember, think about Hashem. We're praying to Hashem. We're praying to Hashem, Rifa'enu. Nobody else can heal us besides Hashem. Baruch Aleinu, nobody gives us parnasa besides Hashem. Kiyat Shemei Tefillah, we know that we're praying to Hashem, but we forget while we're praying to Hashem that we're praying to Hashem. And it's the level of emes that counts. Now, chas v'shalom, again, I'm going to repeat myself because it's dangerous. Some people, they fall into the trap of the Yetzer Hara, and they say, I can't do this, forget it. Hashem doesn't want it. It's pigul, it's disgusting, I couldn't do it. It's like it's as if I didn't daven. It's better I don't daven. Listen to the next chapter, and you'll see that's not the way this religion works. We have to go from white belt to yellow belt to orange belt to black belt. But when we get knocked down, we're not meant to give up. Please make sure to watch the next chapter.